Hi, nobodies. So, I am back in Ohio for a little while. Um, if if things work the way that I want them to, then I guess I'm gonna have kind of like dual citizenship or something. Um, Everything seems okay, but that's not what I want to talk about today, because I don't. I want to talk about my greyhound adventure. um, Getting from Benton, Arkansas to Cleveland, Ohio. That was fun. And that was a little bit of sarcasm. 13-hour car ride. But it's more like, and it says a 21-hour drive, but it's more like 23 hours because I left Arkansas at 6:50 and I got in Cleveland at about 5:30. So it was just shy of a day. So the first thing I had to do was wait on everybody to get Subway at the pilot station when the bus showed up. And, you know, people are inconsiderate. And I saw this a lot on my trip. The first thing, I was off by myself. Now, I was away from the pilot. And at Pilot, on the sidewalk, they have those ashtray urn things. And this fucker comes over all the way over where I'm at and stands behind me and starts smoking. And of course, I'm downwind from him. And of course, I didn't say anything because I don't. But I'm sitting there thinking, motherfucker, the smokers are over there. Why are you over here smoking? I mean, when I smoked cigarettes, I would smoke near the ashtrays. If they were there, that's where you were supposed to be smoking. Or I would be completely away from everyone. But I think people have this idea that if you vape, you're okay with cigarette smoke. Well, this person who vapes is not okay with cigarette smoke. The reason why I vape is because I didn't want to smell like cigarettes. I would rather smell like cotton candy or something. That's me. So when somebody comes up and they're smoking, in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, motherfucker, I don't want to smell like your cigarette. You know, I get on the bus and the bus was kind of empty, which was great. But I moved like 5 times, 5 different seats, even went across the aisle, and all 5 times the power outlet was not working at my seat. I was like, what the fuck? So, couldn't charge anything. I get to Memphis, and that's where I have to transfer onto a bus that's going to Nashville. Well, I had to sit in Memphis for like an hour and a half. No big deal, right? I mean, they had a restaurant there, they had vending machines, just, it wasn't bad. The bathroom was disgusting. And I'll just say this now. Every Greyhound that I went into, the bathroom was gross. And when I say that, I'm not talking about like, there were times when I would have customers, when I was at Target, they'd come up and say, the bathroom is filthy. And I'd go and look and there'd be like, all of the toilets would be flushed, no urine or anything on the toilet seats. All that I would find is like 1 square of toilet paper on the floor and a customer saying, that's filthy. No. When I say that a bathroom is disgusting, that means that I checked the toilets and picked the one that was the least nasty. I had to pass up at the Memphis um, depot. There were two toilets with like toilet paper just coming out of them, and there was a couple of them with urine all over the seats, and it was just ugh. And then I can't remember if it was the Memphis one, the Nashville one, or the Louisville one. I'm thinking it was the Louisville one. Like three of the faucets didn't work. Flat out did not work. And it's like, wow. Of course, I get that, I was looking at people there. It's not so much of a mixed bag at a bus station terminal uh, as it is like when you go to the airport. People who are flying tend to have a little bit, it's just, I'm not used to being, I hate to say dregs of society, but there was quite a few people that it was like, wow, okay, how did you get money to afford a bus ticket even? Because there was one guy on the bus, he had a little teacup chihuahua. Nice guy, didn't talk to him too much, and the dog was just adorable. That dog, you could tell that dog was his life. He loves that dog. He didn't look like he was doing so good, though. He looked like he was homeless. And I hope that he's going somewhere better. I know that he was a vet. When I was leaving Memphis, the bus from Memphis to Nashville was very full. And I stood in line for a while outside. And somebody lit up behind me. And when you go to a Greyhound bus station, they mark the smoking sections. You're pretty much way out of the way. And I'm standing in line after I've put my bag over to be done. And I'm standing in line waiting to board the bus. And this motherfucker is smoking a cigarette behind me. Completely oblivious to the fact that all of us around there may not want to be standing in line with somebody smoking a cigarette. It's inconsiderate. And honestly, with the staff that was there, any one of them could have said, "Sir, this is not a smoking area." And I wish that one of them would have. Because, the stuff that they would say, I had 5 different bus drivers. Only one of them wasn't an asshole, okay? So they weren't fucked up about being assholes about things, and they wouldn't be an asshole about this guy. And he wasn't the only one. He was not the only one standing in that line waiting to board the bus smoking a cigarette. So it wasn't just him. He was just the person right behind me when the smoking section was way far off. I get you want to be in line, but, have a little. I wasn't vaping in that line. Even when I vape, I'll sit there and try to make sure my vape is, my smoke or steam or whatever is going away from people. I hate it when the wind shifts and it ends up blowing into somebody. I'm like, I hate that. Can't stand that. A cigarette's always going, though. So even if they're not blowing smoke, the smoke is still going where the wind blows. It's harder to contain it. Got on the bus, and I get to like the middle of the bus before I realize I'm going to have to sit with somebody. Too late to back up because there's like 10 people behind me. So I was like, okay, who do I sit with? And I actually picked pretty well. And the guy wasn't, I asked if I could sit with him. He said yes. I sat with him. He didn't engage in conversation or anything like that. But I really wanted to go to sleep. But sleeping in an aisle seat, not easy. So I didn't get to go to sleep. But when we got to Nashville, where I had to stay, it was supposed to be 2 hours. But we were an hour late because our bus driver in Memphis couldn't figure out how to start the bus, and she couldn't drive very well anyway. It was a fun trip. I mean, I asked her because when we got on the bus, she's like, "The final destination of this bus is Cincinnati," and then she said we were going to be stopping in Jackson, Tennessee, and I looked at my itinerary, and Jackson, Tennessee was not on there, and um, Cleveland was supposed to be the final stop. Before we got to Nashville, she said that Indianapolis was going to be the final stop. I don't know if she knew where she was. She kept driving on the dividers. But when we stopped in Jackson, I tried to talk to her. I was like, "Hey, my itinerary doesn't show this." And um and you said Cincinnati, and she said, "Let me see your ticket." She looks at it. She goes, "You're 1504. You're on 1504." Just. And even when we got to Nashville, people were like, "Do I need to take my bag with me, or is it going to end up on the right bus that's going?" And she wouldn't say, "Okay, if you've got a Cleveland tag on your bag, then it's going to end up on the right bus. You can leave it here." She's like, "Take your bag if you want to take your bag. Leave your bag if you want to leave your bag." That is not answering the question. Now, the one cool bus driver we had, I had my misgivings about him because he tells the guy that had been across the aisle from me, he said, "Is that black bag yours?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, it's mine." And he said, "Unless you bought 2 seats, carry-on needs to go above you." So I was like, "Oh, great, this guy's going to be an asshole." But he wasn't, and that was really cool that, he was actually a pretty nice bus driver. He got on the bus, he introduced himself, he told us, "Hey, there's going to be some people trying to sleep on here, so please silence your cell phones." He said please and thank you, and explained the rules and why the rules were there. He was all right. The next guy I got in Louisville, and I think, was it? Yeah, I guess I only had 4 bus drivers. Yeah, I only had 4 bus drivers. Why did I think I had 5? Well, the 4th one, he's all, "I need to see reboarding pass, ticket, and ID." Well, nobody ahead of me was giving him ID. So I didn't reach in and get my ID. I had my reboarding pass and my ticket, because I had already shown, the guy was like, "All reboarders come here," and he wanted to make sure we were really going to the place we were going, because and we got to see why he was checking before we got to the bus driver, because there were people coming up and he's like, "No, you need to stand in that line because we're letting the reboarders get on first. You are boarding for the first time." So he was like, so he was having to, "Oh, this isn't your bus. Your bus is going to be in gate C," So we got to see really quick why this first guy was checking us. I get to this guy and he goes, "I said ID." And I believe that. I said, "But no, you're the first one to ask me for ID." And that was the truth. He was the first one. He's like, "Fine, forget about it. Just get on the bus." I was like, "Okay." And then he's on there and he's just like, "Turn your cell phones off. Don't make noise. If I can hear you talking, I'm going to tell you to shut up." And yet, he was talking about there was a group in the back that were getting along fabulously. And not in such a way like I couldn't understand what they were saying. They were making a little bit of noise, but it was no big deal. And he would talk to them. He would say, "Y'all need to whisper." And he had told us, if you're on the phone with somebody, whisper. So I was sitting there and like a dude 4 seats back would get on his phone and talk. And I could understand every freaking word out of his mouth. And dude didn't say anything. I was like, "Why aren't you saying anything to this dude?" And when I didn't know like if anybody was going to sit with me when I finally got to go to sleep. So between Nashville and No, I guess it was Louisville to Cincinnati. Yeah, Louisville to Cincinnati, I slept. And I didn't know if anybody would be sitting next to me. So when I woke up, I see there's a backpack in the seat next to me and a shoe in the cup holder. And I look across at the dude who's taking his shoes off in the seat across from me. And I'm like, is this your bag here? And he's like, yeah, it's my bag. And I said, can you put it up over your seat? He's like, yeah, sure, And then there was something wet on his bag that spilled onto my seat. And I was just sitting there going, why does he think he gets 3 fucking seats? He's even going across the aisle. He didn't like tap on me or anything. And I was like, I just fell asleep before I could see if anybody else was going to get on. And I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep. But by the time I woke back up, I was like, hey, I want my damn, I want to lay out, put my purse on the end there and just. And so I fucking did after he got his shit up. But when I first laid down, I was like, I could smell where his shoe had been. It was just, nasty motherfuckers. Yeah, I do a lot of bitching, but it wasn't that bad. Because once I got on that bus from the first time I got on the bus, and I had to sit next to somebody. So between Memphis and Nashville, couldn't charge anything. That sucked. But from Nashville on, I was able to charge stuff. So I was like, okay, I got this. My way back's going to be a little different. I'm considering that I'll go to Chicago and then go from Chicago to Little Rock because it'll actually be cheaper. I can take the megabus. I get excited over dumb shit. When I got to Cleveland, it was snowing. And it was snowing good, too. It was snowing real good. And I got home and I got to eat. Oh, wow, I say home. I still call this home. Just like my other home. It's home. But I don't think of the house that my ex lives in as home. That's weird. It should feel like home when I'm there, but it doesn't feel like home. It feels like it's not my home. And then I'll call this place home. I'm going to have to settle down somewhere, at some point. But those decisions do not have to be made today or tomorrow or in the next 2 weeks. At least not according to me. I've got a place and I've got this place to visit. I can leave whenever I want and I can come back. So, and I'll be doing it greyhound. It was rough though. I'm not gonna lie, it was rough. And I learned that when you're riding a bus like that, it's kind of like when you have a baby. You sleep when they sleep. Well, on the bus, you sleep when you got the seats to yourself. There was somebody that was snoring and I started laughing. And the guy next to me, he's like, "You laughing about their snoring?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "What do you think it sounds like?" I said, "I think it sounds like a horror movie witch, or like something out of The Ring." It was really, I had fun. I mean, I didn't get to see a whole lot because where the bus stations are at, there isn't much around there. But I was looking and thinking, McDonald's would make a fucking killing, or any fast food restaurant just right outside of a bus station that would be open at midnight, or Starbucks or anything. They would make a killing, especially in Louisville, because in Louisville, they did not have a restaurant up and running there, period. So, you had vending machines and people would have went to Subway or McDonald's or any place, really. Any little diner or whatever, especially if you're going to be somewhere 2 hours. If there's a Walmart nearby, you bet your ass they're going to go shopping in Walmart. Just because they want to get out of the freaking, get away from all these people and all this. The guy that was riding with me, I got here at 5:30. He was going to be on the bus trying to get to New York until 8 o'clock this morning. So I feel bad for him. But I'm doing good. Today's been a good day. I don't see that changing. Anything that comes up, I'm just gonna turn it around, because every moment is an opportunity to turn things around, and it starts with your frame of mind. So if you can say to yourself, not today, Satan, or who you think you're fucking with, if you can say to yourself, hey, I ain't gonna let this shit fuck with me today. I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna do something else, do something different. I'm gonna be positive. And not just positive that my luck is shit type of positive. No. Positive that I can make things better. I can have a better day, regardless of what life or people decide to throw on me. I get to choose how I feel about it. I get to choose what I think of it. I get to choose my reaction to it. Those are all choices. Granted, some people feel really, really strongly and choice is kind of pulled out of their hands. You got to work on that. Never be so emotional that you can't control your actions. So I'm going to have a good day, and I hope that you are having a good day and you continue to have a good day. Bye.